I'm centering again, I'm centering. Okay? But I don't just stop here with the rooftop shape of my hands and say it's centered. I bring the clay up into a taller, narrower cone, and then I push it down so that it ends up like this. So that's in an effort to really move the clay and make it come together. So it's completely homogenized. Right? I take my right hand off and I control the centeredness with the left hand. The clay's coming into my left hand is at 7 o'clock. The opposing direction would be at 1 o'clock on the clock dial here. The fingers of the right hand squeezing back into the palm of the left. The palm of the right hand is not going to be used. The fingers of the left hand are not going to be used. So it's the left palm and the right fingers, right? And I'm squeezing those fingers towards the palm and raising my hand together, resting at the top and releasing. Push it back down. My left hand is responsible for keeping it on center. My right hand goes over the point, and my right and left thumb are the same level. I come back to the rooftop shape, and now I'm really on center. Okay? There's no doubt about that. And when I open, I lift my palms and pull back with my fingers. So my middle finger, my ring finger, and my pinky finger are resting on the wheel head. My index fingers, because they're shorter than my middle finger, cannot get down to the wheel head. But the tips of the index fingers are touching each other, and I'm pulling back towards my body with the length of my fingers draped over the exterior of that cone shape. Okay? There's a tension that I developed then between those fingers and these thumbs, right? And if I see this little muscle here pop up, then I've got that tension. If I don't, it's probably because I'm not pulling back with my fingers. What I need to do is I need to center my thumbs as they go down and open. And the only way I can do that is by reading the centered feeling with my fingers and transferring that feeling to my thumbs through tension between my fingers and my thumbs. I can put my thumbs down if I'm not using my fingers, but my thumbs won't go in the center. They'll only go in the center if I'm pulling back with my fingers. Okay? Then I've got a concentric opening with the exterior mass. Check the thickness. Take your needle tool, drop it in so that the point of the metal hits the wheel head, then slide your finger down the shaft so that at the deep point there where your thumbs were making that low spot, you rest your index finger on the clay surface, raise it up, and then you look at the thickness. That's between 1/2 and 5/8 of an inch thick. That's about right, okay? Thicker than 5/8, too much. Thinner than 1/2, too little. When I opened, my fingers went around the outside and my thumbs went down the inside. Okay. What was I saying? I've got a shape like this, right? Because my thumbs went down like this. Right? That's like a V shape. What I'm trying to make is a curve inside to make it the shape of the bowl. So I want to stretch it from a V shape to a U shape. Right? Like that. So that means I got to bend the joint, the first joint of my thumb, and lift it up from the center towards the rim, without changing the outside shape. Right? I'm just making the shape inside. I'm separating the tips of my thumb, but the second joint and the third joint of my thumb stays together. It's just the first joint that comes apart. We have 3 joints in my thumb. 1, 2, 3. Most people don't think about the third joint, but it is a strong joint. I can stop now. I can put my single scoop of vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce in here and eat it perfectly well. But it's a shame, here we're talking about wasting clay again, that all of this extra clay is down here. And if you remember that I said we can be no thicker than 1/2 inch anywhere on our finished piece, I will be trimming off all of this clay that I could have put into the piece and expand the form and increase the volume. Okay? So I'm going to compress the clay down here at the base. I'm going to invert the shape of this cone. I'm going to make a narrow base and a wide rim. Right now it has a wide base and a narrow rim. I'm just going to invert that. Right? My thumb goes down in my middle finger. My index and my ring finger are cradling my thumb. This is a massive meat and bone target against which the fingers on the inside can compress the clay. Right? The fingers of my left hand are going to rest here. My fingers of my right hand are going to push here. They're going to push in a divot or a ditch. On top of that is a lump or a flange, as some may say. Because my thumb is above where my fingers are. If my fingers are horizontal down here and my thumb's resting on top, my thumb's on top of this lump. And I'm squeezing my thumb and my fingers to hold that lump. These fingers are then going to turn towards that hand. So if my hand is like this to begin with, and my middle finger is resting in the low spot, and my index and my ring finger are above that low spot, I've already got the curve formed here, right? All I've got to do is turn this hand towards that hand, lay my thumb somewhere on my right hand, and align my fingers so that I see there's an alignment here and here and here, fingertip to fingertip. But I can push against this. This is a huge target, bigger than these three fingers. And if I miss this way, I'll hit it with one finger. If I miss this way, I'll hit it with another finger. You know, I'm going to hit it as long as my thumb is resting over here. I lean to the right. I push from the inside and the outside, and I move that lump or that flange up. And now I've inverted the cone. Now I'm wider at the rim and narrower at the base because I push the clay in at the base. Now it looks like a bowl, right? More like a bowl than it did before, inside and out. The idea is we're making an even wall thickness in the wet stage through compression. Bend your fingers. It won't work unless you bend your fingers. Compress the rim, let your fingers creep up to the rim. This is the exercise for the next 5 days. Put your hands together like this. At the base of your hand, cross your left thumb over your right. Don't look at your hand now, and bend your fingers. So you become sensitive to the alignment of the tips of your fingers when your joints are bending. Right? You're waiting for the bus. You're waiting for Netflix to get over the commercial. You're waiting for, your loved ones to come home, right? Just practice this. This is an exercise that you can develop sensitivity towards, right? The alignment of your fingers and the infinite range of pressure from heavy pressure to light pressure with the alignment of the fingers. And you're compressing the clay. You're bending your fingers so that you don't drag your fingertips along the base and make a flat base or a flat floor. My hand can go inside there, right? If I want, I can use a rib, and the rib will help me to make a curve. I come to the center with a point, rest the point in the center, and then come back up. I'm supporting the outside wall with my hand turned upside down like this. I'm asking you to make a hemispherical bowl. A hemispherical bowl has a proportion that the width is twice that of the depth. Right? That would be the proportion that you see there on the board. Right? You have X. That's the depth of the bowl from the rim down to the center point, which is the deep point. Right? The width should be twice that. That would be a hemisphere. If you have a chamois, you can use it up here. You can use something like your fingers to round that, soften that, smooth that, so that's an inviting rim. Take the wooden knife tool and trim off the excess down here. Let the blade of the tool assume the angle that you made with your fingers, and the tip of the tool just carries that downwards. Come back up. And now you know where to put your foot. when you go to trim. Right? You can put your foot right there where in the wet trim stage you've removed the extra supporting clay. Can somebody bring me a bat, please? A small bat. Cut while it's spinning. Pull once through as it revolves in front of you. And scissors grip. Compress at the solid bit of the clay. Okay?